asked to deliver a short discourse. When I did a recording in 2013, the discourse was part of the recording. I'm just going to read it out to you. This is my original. Mariamman. Radiance, beauty, energy, power, savior, protector, provider, divine, fertility, one who grants wealth, knowledge, cure of ailments, and the list goes on and on. Who is Mariamman? Where did Mariamman worship originate? How does one worship Mariamman? And what is the connection with Mariamman? And how does one communicate with Mariamman? These are the questions that we can commonly ask ourselves. In order to find answers to these proposed questions, one needs to delve deeply into the text of Hindu philosophy to come up with appropriate answers. According to the Vedas, Hindus pay homage and believe in the concept of one God only, whom they refer to as Parabrahman or Paramatman, meaning this one big massive ball of energy, or the super soul. That is who we worship. The super soul has got no form, it's got no name, it's got no gender, it's got no size, and it has no shape and no gender as well. The Supreme Being, having created this entire universe, found it necessary to sustain, maintain, provide for, and protect this universe. The general perception is that man is supposed to be God's highest level of creation. And ever since the beginning of time, man has had this yearning to make communications or contact with this beautiful creator. Man has found it very, very difficult trying to communicate with something that is not tangible. Therefore, God, having witnessed the dilemma that man has found himself in, revealed himself in various forms to us merely for the communication purposes only. If one could understand and grasp this concept, ignorance, it is the gross state which will disappear and make way for sublime knowledge and the purest of highest of forms. Who is Mariamman? Mariamman is the manifestation of the supreme energy that we are talking about. From time immemorial, there was a need for God's intervention in worldly affairs. God has manifested himself in what we refer to as his or her Tiruvaliyadu or spot of play. Mariamman, popularly worshipped in the southern states of India, is referred to as Grama Devi or the village goddess. Mari means rain, Amman means mother, commonly referred to as the rain goddess, ensuring that the correct levels of rainfall are distributed to ensure fertility of the soil and the eradication of disease. The origin of Mariamman worship: in bygone era, villages were wiped out due to the smallpox epidemic. A village by the name of Sabiyapuram on the outskirts of the Tiruchi metropolis was one such village that was heavily affected. First of all, drought prevailed for a long period of time and there was no rainfall, which resulted in smallpox and measles epidemic that had reached outrageous proportions. People prayed to God for relief. Out of the blue, there appeared a lady draped in a yellow sari. She directed the infected people to consume fermented porridge and administered the concoction of syringa leaves and turmeric to heal the pox epidemic that had affected people. After the disease has subsided, people began to wonder as to whom this person was that had brought relief to them. They eventually found her sitting under a syringa tree. When she was approached and questioned as to whom she was, she instructed the people to look at her head. The gathering of people were amazed to find 1,000 heads, 1,000 eyes on her head. In Thamo, we refer to as Ayiram Kandudayal. Only then did she reveal that she was the great Shakti and the governess of the universe and advised people to perform Amman Puja. From that time onwards, she was regarded as the deity that could cure heat-based disease such as smallpox, chickenpox, measles, and rashes. How does one worship Mariamman? Worship is done at two levels. The first being a sacrificial prayer. Some of us perform that. And of course, secondly, is commonly known as the Suddha Pusai or the totally vegetarian puja. The structural mode of the worship may vary from family to family, from village to village, according to past traditions, but the ideology is the same. To host a prayer inside or outside the house, or in a temple, or eventually in the field, is one's personal choice and decision. But the most important thing is the devotion that one attaches to the Divine Mother. Some of the offerings that are made during the prayer: fermented porridge. It is commonly known that that measles and the pox virus starts from within the vital organs, internal organs of the human body. It has also been established there are certain good bacteria that is found in fermented meal porridge, which is essential for the control of the vital growth. Thus the use of porridge. 7 kind beings. God is the sustainer of the universe and has to have his checks and balances in order to ensure that the world does not crumble under the weight of overpopulation. Therefore, from time to time, there are need for disasters, epidemics to take place at God's beck and call. Mariamman is such, inasmuch as we turn to her for relief in times of difficulty. She is also the origin of the pox epidemic. The 7 kinds of beings is the personification of the 7 types of pox and each related diseases that she possesses in her arsenal. The act of offering the 7 kinds of beings acknowledges our awareness of God's ability for rewarding and punishing. Everything is reward and punish based, thus moving us towards a more disciplined way of life. Gargam, the mother's gargam, is referred to as the crown of the Divine Mother. The act of offering our bowed heads to the base of the feet of this crown is a sign of total surrender and devotion to this mother. Manjal, Syringa leaves and Moringi leaves. The medicinal values of these items, as are the scientific world and the medical world, baffled with regards to its healing properties, both for internal and external diseases. It is said that the mother directed the human race to consume and apply these items to curb the viral infection. Madhuriviran was a great and a very staunch bhakta of Mariamman, goddess Mariamman. He was indeed the perfect example of bhakti and devotion. He spread the belief of what Mariamman was all about. The mother had given him the benediction that whenever a prayer is conducted for her benefit, a prayer of homage and respect is offered to Mother Revered as well before we commence with their prayers. Our connection and contact with Mariamman, connection is done both at the spiritual and the material level. To appease the needs of our material bodies, a certain level of ritualism is required to satisfy its wants. But more importantly, it is the soul occupying this gross physical or this material body that needs spiritual advancement. Our Puranas have decreed that in the age of Kali Yuga, paying obeisance to God in the form of bhakti worship or God realization is highly recommended. What we have just done here is chanting God's glorious name. That is what we refer to as bhakti worship. It is indeed, okay, that part there, I'm going to cut it off short there. I did my own version of the part whereby I released the CD but I will read to you in any event. It is indeed with this in mind that the CD has been compiled, presented, commencing with a prayer called Mariamman Padal, followed by songs with simple words to chant and coupled with popular bhajan tunes. I'm sure you would take you through to this unforgettable spiritual experience. My 45 minutes is up.
Sing a few more songs with a song.
With the light?
You know, the light of the song. Sing a few more songs.
I'll sing 2 more songs again.
Thanks.
கடம்பவாகினியே அம்மா கல்யாணி கடம்பவாகினியே அம்மா அம்மா கல்யாணி கருமாரி பராசக்தி கல்யாணி கருமாரி பராசக்தி மீனாட்சி விசாலாட்சி காமாட்சி அம்மா மீனாட்சி விசாலாட்சி காமாட்சி அம்மா 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 வருவாய் 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 next song that I'm going to sing, also a particular Mudara's favorite, whereby it is said, the Kaligat, the poet that composed the lyrics for the song, he did it in an unborn state. In other words, he was not even born at that point in time. He was still within the confines of his mother's body when he composed the lyrics for the song. And he said to her, Tai, in all my previous births, we all know, Parpo with the Piribi cattle, the soul is born time and time and time and again. It's what we do with this life here that will determine what happens in our next life. He says to the Divine Mother, in all my previous births, I've never ever made contact with you. But in this coming birth that I am coming down, I need you to come right down. Whilst I'm in the confines of my mother's body, come down and feed me what we refer to as Jnanapal. Jnanapal means the milk of wisdom. If you feed me the Jnanapal, I know the difficulties that await me when I make my appearance in this world. Oh Mother, the way I glorify you, my heart comes leaping out to reach to you. The sun and moon are merely the symbols of your divine wisdom. Like I said, in all my previous births, I've searched for you, I've never ever found you. And in this current birth, I am going to find you. And that is going to be my last and final birth. Because once I take your name, there is nothing else that is left for me. When one goes to South India, one should, I say, it's a must that you go to the southern tip of Tamil Nadu and visit this beautiful shrine that we refer to as, that is dedicated to Mother Kanyakumari. Devi Kanyakumari Parasati, Devi Kanyakumari, Devi Kanyakumari, Divanari, Devi Kanyakumari, Devi Kanyakumari, Parasati, Devi Kanyakumari. Avi Varu
Assalamualaikum, namaste, namaskaram. A very warm welcome to this cold day of Adi, but nevertheless, the Dharma hands are here. We'd like to thank our Guru for the beautiful prayer that you did, and Guru Thamo and Katcheri for gracing our temple. I think it's the first time that you've graced our temple.
No, I come here, I've done some Navagraha Shantis for the entire congregation, I think twice.
Okay, in terms of singing, okay. So it's been a long time. Anyway, we look forward to hosting you for future days. So with that, we will rise for Aarti. Tomorrow is our big Shakti prayer, and we look forward to a powerful, power-packed Adi Parashakti energy and prayer on Sunday. So we'll rise for Aarti.
Om Sammarvatmajaya Vidmahi Trisuri Hastaya Dhimahi Tanno Mari Prasodaya Sarvamangalamangaliye Shiva Sarvatra Sadike Saranyatri Ambara Gauri Narayani Namastuti Namah Asabhoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotikamaye Mrityoma Amartangamaye Hari Om Shanti Shanti आदि पराशक्ति की जय, आदि पराशक्ति की जय, आदि पराशक्ति की जय।